to the downside in the short term, while this new signal is flashing that we need to pay attention to on the larger time frames, while Ethereum is also breaking to the downside in the short term. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, taking a look at the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and right now the Bollinger Bands, despite the latest pullback, are still not expanding. At least as of right now, we have not officially confirmed the next extremely volatile move on the larger timeframes. And by extremely volatile move, I mean a move that is at least 20 to 30% in the price of Bitcoin, if not larger, like what we've seen in these previous examples. And usually when we see the beginning of that volatile move start to play out in the price of Bitcoin on the larger time frames, we see an expansion in the Bollinger Bands, which is shown by a spike to the upside here in the Bollinger Bands width indicator, which at least for now has not yet happened. And in fact, if we're taking a look at the super trend indicator on the 4-day time frame, obviously we can see that right now the price of Bitcoin is technically speaking within a larger bullish trend or a bull market on the larger time frames, despite these short-term pullbacks that we see during the bull market. But this super trend indicator right here will flip back into the red as we saw in the beginning of 2022, marking the beginning of that previous bear market. This will flip back into the red once we see a confirmed break below the super trend, below the bottom of this indicator right here, which is currently sitting at around $56,000. And we would have to see a candle close below that level. So here on the 4-day time frame, we would have to see a 4-day candle close, but ideally a weekly candle close below $56,000 per Bitcoin. And then in that case, we can start talking about the end of the bull market. But at least for now, that has not yet confirmed. And previously in this very bull market, during the bull market, we've seen multiple pullbacks of more than 20% from high to low during the bull market. And so it is just important to consider the different perspectives. Of course, when we're zooming out on these larger timeframes, at least for now, we have not yet confirmed the end of the bull market or anything like that. Of course, that will likely happen at some stage in the future. We will not have a bull market into infinity, but at least for now, that has not yet confirmed. So technically speaking, we can still remain within the larger bullish trend, also known as the bull market, despite seeing these short-term pullbacks. That is a possibility, and we have seen that multiple times already in this bull market. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin chart, looking at the 3-day Bitcoin RSI, this has also been a pretty good indicator throughout this bull market at telling us potential buying opportunities. And as always, this is not personal financial advice, but if we're simply taking a look at the last few times where the Bitcoin RSI on the 3-day time frame has dipped below 50, so basically entered the lower half of the indicator, we can see back in this first example, that was in March 2023, we saw a quick crash in the price of Bitcoin, and that turned out to be a great buying opportunity because we actually saw a quick recovery over the following weeks after the RSI dipped below 50. And if we're taking a look at this second example, this happened near the end of May, entering into June 2023. And this time around, it took a little bit longer to see the recovery, but we eventually saw a recovery later on in the price of Bitcoin out of that short-term pullback or short-term bearish trend. And then we eventually pull back again just a couple of months later to that same area on the chart, very similar to the price action that we've seen over the last couple of months, basically a very large sideways price range. But then in that third example, we saw the same signal flash. We saw the 3-day Bitcoin RSI massively drop below 50 into the lower half of the indicator. And basically the entire time where the RSI was below 50, that turned out in hindsight to be a great buying opportunity. If you're accumulating Bitcoin or just dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin in that price range, you would have done very well if you held on. And if we're taking a look at this next example that happened right near the beginning of this year, we saw the RSI very briefly just dip below 50, basically brush against 50 here in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI. And as we can see here in the price of Bitcoin, obviously that also turned out to be a decent buying opportunity. And even this latest example right here that we saw near the beginning of May this year, that also turned out to be a decent buying opportunity to accumulate some cheaper Bitcoin. And of course, we saw that pump back to the upside over the next few weeks or so, kind of similar to what we saw back here. But of course, now we're seeing that extra pullback down towards that area again, also very similar to what we saw just here during this same bull market. And so we actually have a lot of similarities right now in the price of Bitcoin and in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI between right now and around August to September 2023. There's a lot of similarities between these two areas on the chart. And so what will be very important for Bitcoin is to simply remain above this previous low at around 56,000 for multiple reasons. Once again, we have that super trend indicator where that would flip back into the red if we start breaking below 56,000 with confirmation. So that is one reason why we need to hold 56,000 for the larger bull market to basically continue. And another reason is, of course, if we break below 56,000, the price would be forming a new lower low on the larger timeframes, which doesn't usually happen during a bull market. Usually a bull market is basically higher lows and higher highs, or at least relatively horizontal lows, kind of like what we saw back here. We actually held that previous low, which is why we stayed in the bull market. But when we start to see a breakdown of the bullish price structure on the larger timeframes by breaking below previous significant lows in the price, that is not a sign of a bull market. That would be a sign of a bear market, which is why 56K is a critical level to hold. But at least for now, of course, we have not yet broken below 56K. And so despite what's happening in the short term, that is the situation right now on the larger time frames. But if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, at least for now, the DXY is still trending more in the bullish direction, as I've been saying basically every day over the last couple of weeks. And over the last couple of weeks, I've been warning constantly that this is a very bearish signal, a warning signal for Bitcoin and crypto, at least in terms of the short-term trend and momentum. And ever since I started warning about this short-term bearish signal, we have simply seen more bearish price action in the short term for the price of Bitcoin and crypto as expected. And if you're on the channel just a few months ago, you'll know that I actually started to enter a major long position right around here below 60,000 near this previous low due to the fact that we're seeing a bearish reversal in the DXY. But then I started closing some of that position right around 72,000 due to major resistance right there. And I closed the rest of that position at around 67,000, give or take, because by that stage, we had already started to see more of a bullish reversal in the DXY, which is a bearish reversal signal for Bitcoin, which is why I closed that long position and flipped much more bearish around 1 to 2 weeks ago. But as always, it is important to keep in mind the different time frames. So these shorter term trends on the daily time frame usually last for just a few weeks, sometimes up to a few months, but they can occur during the larger bullish trend. As we can see here, we've had some short term bearish trends during this larger bullish trend, also known as the bull market. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, obviously over the last 1 day, we have now seen a break below this previous area of support, which was acting as a bit of support over the last 1 week or so, sitting in between around 63 to 64,000. But now that the price is broken below 63,000, we have now dropped pretty much straight away into the next area of support that I've mentioned recently here on the channel, sitting in between around $60,000 to 61K. And at least for now, that is currently holding as short-term support. But if we actually see a break back below $60,000, then in that case, of course, that will be another short-term bearish signal pointing towards another drop to the downside, perhaps into this area of support, sitting in between around 56 to 58,000 approximately, mainly based on this previous low. And once again, 56K is the critical level to hold above for the bull market. But one piece of good news for the bulls out there is the fact that right now, while the price is running into this support at 60 to 61,000, we're actually seeing the daily Bitcoin RSI enter into oversold territories for the first time in many months. And historically speaking, when the daily Bitcoin RSI enters into oversold territories, it means we're getting very close to some sort of local low in the price, not necessarily the bottom, but at least this usually happens before we have some sort of bounce or sideways consolidation, basically a bit of a break from all of this bearish price action. And so overall, as I've been saying since all the way back up here, I'm still bearish on the price of Bitcoin for the short-term trend and momentum, but soon we could see a bit of a break from that bearish price action just in the imminent short term. And I would only start flipping more bullish again in terms of the short-term trend and momentum if we actually start seeing a confirmed breakout back above significant resistance. So first of all, back above around 63 to 64,000, or ideally back above around 67 to 68,000. But obviously, as we can see right here, we have not seen any confirmed breakout back above any of these areas of resistance. We have simply only been breaking below previous areas of support, which means the short-term trend is still bearish, as I've been saying since all the way back up here. But for the Bitcoin traders out there, it does not actually matter if the price is bullish or bearish, because you can make money in either direction using long positions or short positions, for example. And personally, I take those sort of trades over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim an exclusive 500 USDT airdrop position just by making a Bybit account using that link, making a deposit and claiming the airdrop. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go over here if you want to claim these extra bonuses. And in fact, the first link below this video will take you to this page right here. And the second link below this video will be for any of the degens out there that are into meme coins, because right now there's also a 200 USDT position airdrop for a bunch of meme coins right now. And so, like I just said, the second link below this video will take you to this page, and the first link below this video will take you to the 500 USDT position airdrop. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, we can see over the last one day, obviously we ended the weekend, and basically right at the end of the weekend, we saw a massive increase in volatility in the price of Bitcoin, at least in the short term, which is what I've been saying over and over again here on the channel. I've been saying during the weekends, expect not much volatility, which is pretty much exactly what we saw. We saw very flat price action for the vast majority of the weekend. And then, as I've also been saying over and over again here on the channel, when the new week starts, as we're entering into a weekday, expect a lot more volatility. And that's exactly what we have seen now that the weekend is over. And so, of course, with this short-term volatile move, we have invalidated this previous short-term bullish divergence with new lower lows in the RSI and the price action. And once again, the short-term trend and momentum is clearly more bearish than bullish. So, of course, we can see slight bullish reliefs or choppy sideways price action here and there, but ultimately the trend and momentum is bearish. But anyway, if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can see over the last one day, we did indeed liquidate a lot of positions at around 63,000 and more positions that were sitting just underneath 63,000. And we actually have some more liquidity building right at around $60,000. And our next upside area of liquidity is sitting at around 64.9K to 65K, and more short-term liquidity at around 66,500. But once again, we have to keep in mind that the short-term trend for the price of Bitcoin is simply more bearish than bullish, at least for now. And with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and right now the price of ETH has obviously followed Bitcoin with a short-term dump. And just over the last one day, we broke below this 38.2% Fibonacci level of support, which was sitting right at around 3480. And we're also currently trading below this 50% retracement level, at least as of recording this video. And that level was sitting at around 3350. So we actually saw a move almost all the way down towards this golden pocket area of support, sitting in between around 3180 to 3220. And so at least for now, that is the significant area of support to pay attention to on this daily time frame. And once again, despite any short-term sideways consolidations or choppy sideways price action or short-term bullish reliefs, at least for now, we're still trending in the bearish direction in terms of the short-term trend and momentum. And if we're taking a look at the 12-hour time frame right now, as of recording this video, the price of ETH is running into this Fibonacci retracement level, which is acting as some short-term support at roughly around 3.3K. But below that, we have some more support at around 3120. And also, over the last one day, with the recent short-term pullback, we have now invalidated this previous short-term bullish divergence because obviously both the price and the RSI have now created a new lower low over the last one day. And if we're zooming further into the short term, looking at the 8-hour time frame, we can also see just recently we've now confirmed an 8-hour candle close and potentially about to confirm another 8-hour candle close soon below this level of support, which was sitting just above 3.4K. And so this break to the downside right here simply marks the continuation of the short-term bearish trend. Basically, after we had a bit of a sideways consolidation or some choppy sideways price action here during the short-term bearish trend. And clearly, we did not only see a breakdown in the price action right here, we also saw a breakdown in the RSI below this ascending line of support and also forming lower lows, which once again invalidates this previous short-term bullish divergence, pointing towards a continuation of the bearish trend once again. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Solana on the 12-hour time frame, as we can see right here, Solana also followed along with Bitcoin and Ethereum over the last one day with the short-term dump. And we basically just dumped further into this massive area of support, which is sitting in between around $120 to $128. And if we're taking a look at the 12-hour Solana RSI, we can see also over the last one day, this just recently again entered into oversold territories. And we've seen over the last 1 week or so, we've been constantly brushing against oversold territory. So basically, we've seen these slight bounces to reset the RSI, giving us more room to the downside later on, and then another bounce, giving us more room to the downside, and so on. And so this is why we need to see more confirmation of any confirmed bullish reversal. So at least for now, as I've been saying, since $160, I am still bearish in the short term for the trend and momentum. I'm still very bearish in the short term. And we've seen since $160, a lot more bearish price action exactly as expected. But once again, during this short-term bearish trend, we can see some short-term bounces and some sideways consolidations here and there during the bearish trend. But at least for now, the trend is still bearish in the short term. And in order to actually confirm a bullish trend reversal for the short-term trend and momentum, we need to first of all see a confirmed breakout back above this area of resistance in between around 140 to 144. So breaking out back above 144 with confirmation, and ideally back above 160 in order to be much more confident that we're actually reversing back into the bullish direction in terms of the trend and momentum in the short term. But just over the next 1 to 2 days during the short-term bearish trend, I would not necessarily be surprised if we see a bit more support around this area, considering we've only just entered into this area of support, and previously this has been significant support for the price. And so just be aware that even though I'm bearish in terms of the trend and momentum, we can see a bit of a break from that bearish trend. That is a possibility even in the short term. But I want to make it clear that that is not me saying it's either going to go up, down, or sideways, because there's still some people that lack comprehension that comment that in these videos. I'm basically saying that the trend is bearish, so expect bearish price action, but things do not move in a straight line. So we're not going to go straight to the downside in a straight line. We're going to see some bounces and things like that along the way. And once again, I've been saying that since $160, and since then, we've seen exactly that as expected. And once again, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.